So this is a game by Artasun and DaSeynhaeve. This is an equal game, so we'll only be talking about equal game moves. So here you can see a lot of moves were made on the side for both players. We should not be making moves on the side. As you can see, just approaching our opponent or enclosing our areas are very simple ways of just starting. We always want to focus on corner, side, center, and that's how we can slowly progress. So yeah, enclosing like this is not an enclosure because we are too high. You have to remember that this is the line of influence, this line of territory, and here you don't really have anything. You having influence on the fifth line is never good. So because you can see white can just easily take away your points here and then take away your points here again, and then you have nothing, right? Again, attachment here very bad, as white never attached to weak stones. You kind of make your opponent stronger. Blocking from this direction would have been better. Always block from where your stones are. Let your opponent try to run out, and then we can kind of make a wall and build our own like group in the center. It's always good for us. Here this is unreasonable. We should be able to cut and fight because no jump is allowed like this. You have to extend as white. So because black didn't punish properly, white got to go out. Here this shape again, it's too weak. We always want to keep our shape strong. Our opponent is very solid, so we also have to be solid. By creating all these unnecessary shapes, as you can see, now we have so many holes everywhere and we can't fight back. And you can see now white just pushes us all around and our shape is very terrible. Here white should just probably just jump out and run into the center and just be done with the group and play elsewhere. But I guess both players decide to continue fighting, which is unnecessary. Here you don't need to do this. A net works here because of the amount of liberties you have. There's no way black can escape this because you can capture this quite easily. So yeah, here this is too close. You kind of wanna, if you wanna protect, just protect this way. Don't go close to strength. Going close to strength is always bad. This is a weird move. This is a shoulder hit on the fifth line. It really doesn't do much because again, your opponent can just simply take their own area if they need to, and you still don't have any territory, and this is not really influence. This works as an attack. This kind of works, but if this was the idea, you would continue trying to push your opponent if this is something you want to do. And then like in this situation you want to jump out so that you can try to make some points here. That's an idea. Maybe not the best because the amount of points here is a bit too small. So yeah, here the moves feel a bit too lag. Here I would just connect directly. You don't need to make a shape unless you need that shape. Here this is just best because it allows you to do this easily. In this situation, if you do this, you can see yeah, doing this is not allowed because there's a Atari. So you have to remember when we have to connect and when we don't. Playing this is a bit too safe, way too safe. We have a strong group, we want to be more attacky, so let's push on our opponent, something like this, and maybe even make some shape like this. So if white does do this, then we can maybe try and run out and try and kill this white stones, or just chase them out is good enough. This is weird by white. I don't know what this stone is doing. It's just floating. They're very aggressive fighting. I feel like both players are fighting way too hard, and you should focus more on making simple moves because fighting requires a lot of reading and it's unnecessary. You don't really need to fight in any game unless your opponent forces it. and you can sometimes just sacrifice and force your opponent to just take whatever they want and play elsewhere. And by just doing that and staying strong, because they're never strong enough to really make any significant damage, you will be kind of fine. Yeah, this is again unreasonable, too much, too far, and now you see that you kind of live in a very small group. Yeah, again, way too tough on the fighting. If you really want to do something, this is also an idea that you can think about, because this net doesn't work, right? And you could even say that, oh, I'm gonna threaten to capture you, but again, it doesn't work. You really need to read out the moves. So that's why I feel like a lot of this fighting seems very unnecessary. Yeah, this is also not needed, because your opponent can't play that, and if they do play this, you just play this move and then you're fine. Yeah, this is Aji Keshi. You're kind of making your opponent strong for no reason. Again, I would think about trying to capture these stones in the center as black. Since this group is fine because of these stones that are captured, I would think about playing moves like this, seeing if I can run this out. And if these stones run out, now I have some influence into making moves like this, so that if my opponent does want to keep this stone and connect, I can just now actually play this, and not only just take the points on the side, I have a wall as well that prevents them from being able to escape, so it's a much harder invasion for them later. So yeah, so again, black really fights very hard here. There's a lot of fighting, and it seems a lot very unreasonable. A lot of this should not work, because we are allowing our opponent to be very lax. So here you can see, if I just do this and connect my stones, and then maybe this kind of fight occurs, my groups are still connected. Your goal is just to keep as many stones connected, because it's easier to deal with the attack if the stones are like this compared to if the stones are like this, right? Here you get cut easily because you have so many cutting points, and your opponent is getting a lot of opportunities. You don't need to save this point, it's unnecessary. So try not to make moves like this. So yeah, so black just keeps pushing and pushing. You can see how easily white just is trying to take the damage, but again, it's unnecessary. Like here again, this move is so beautiful, because now if black does capture this, you have so many opportunities of making moves like this to now connect your stones, because you can sacrifice this one stone just to keep these stones connected. And you can see, because of having so many multiple groups all over the place, you now start to feel like, oh, I'm struggling to keep everything safe. And I feel like black here has a good fighting sense, so this is very nice for black to be able to make all these messes. But as white, just try to learn to sacrifice as much as possible, and also keep your shape and structure more solid. Because you can see here now, this group gets separated, that groups get separated. Now these two groups, I feel like, are just dead, and black here is taking a huge lead. Black keeps pushing himself around. Black does not need to save this one. Actually, yeah, it does need to save this one still, because of the life. But the better way to do this would be to try and think about noticing the structure. Can you maybe even play this, right? Is this allowed, or does this cause any problems, like, oh, now I can't capture these stones and all that. So that's why this kind of fighting is very unnecessary. It's why here you can even think about, like, oh, okay, maybe I might just sacrifice these two stones, just so that I can keep these stones dead. So I just connect this this way, and maybe even just let these 2 stones live if possible. But again, you can see, just because there's so much fighting everywhere, you have so many lack of liberties, that it's so easy for white to just connect everything up, which is why this is not the best way to play the game. So yeah, again, black tries to play some move over here. White needs to just play something like this, and then this, and then this, because if your group is safe enough, right, that you can just live here locally, and black can try as much as black wants, it won't be able to live if you take away the vital points. So yeah, a lot of this is unreasonable. Black can continue a co-fight here and play some co-threats, where black can maybe play something like this, see if the opponent will respond or give it up to make this group live. It's quite a interesting thing to learn about how to play co's. It might be good for black because black is able to play a fight very well. So making co's might be a good, but as black in this situation, I feel like I'm ahead by a lot. My point in this game would just be to make sure white stays small, my groups are secure, so white cannot fight back. Because as the losing player, the amount of co-threats you have will be way more than how many co-threats the winning player has. So yeah, like a lot of these moves, white tries its best to fight back, but it's a lot of problems. Yeah, that's why, like, here, honestly, the easiest way to deal with this is for black to just play this, and if white captures, black can simply just keep the points in this area, because again, this 1 stone doesn't do much. So trying to save it and then trying to fight this way, and then allowing our opponent to get this kind of structure kind of goes against the normal way of playing the game, where we are caring way too much about certain stones because we are so desperate in wanting to fight and find a way to just kill something or capture something and force our opponent to make a mistake. This might work in a DDK game, but as you improve, the mistakes your opponent makes are gonna be way smaller, and it's gonna be way harder to force them to make a mistake. So yeah, so we just want to think about how we keep ourselves secure. So yeah, white here does try its best to save itself. Again, here as black, you know, my area is bigger. I really do not want white to be able to come in, so I will probably make moves like this, where I will sacrifice as much as I can with small stones and just have proper positioning, right? As you can see, like, this was all unnecessary. We gave white too many points over and over. Okay, good start of a co-fight, but again, yeah, white kind of had an easy opportunity to just stop the co, and nothing happens here anymore. So yeah, most of the game after this point is just basically done. There's not a lot here. Again, please remember to just connect your groups. There's not a lot to do. Black doesn't need to fill all these points. It's a Japanese rules, so playing these kinds of points where there's some like small cores left, like these and this, are important because the groups are alive then. But playing on the inside is quite useless. So you have to always count, like, okay, I have one liberty here, one liberty here, one liberty here, one liberty, and how much does this group have, right? And always play from the outside. So you can see here, by playing this way, this also works, but just this is a better way to always play. We don't want to make weird shapes when we want to capture something. We always want to play from the outside, because again, like, this kind of moves can add liberties in the process of there's some co-fight where white tries to drag out the stones and then suddenly gets 2 liberties and then you lose out on liberties. So that's not going to be a very helpful thing. So yeah. Here again, it's all good. Make sure that, yeah, you if you do want to try something, that's fine, but again, you know, your opponent took the core, so we also want to close our core point here, and that's mostly the game. Black did a lot of interesting stuff, which allowed him to be able to just make a huge mess on the board, and white was not able to solve it. So for black, I would say is that it is good that you know how to make proper messes, but also try to focus on playing as properly as you can. So it's better to improve how to play a normal game and then use your fighting as a easy method to just get out of situations or cause problems for your opponent, when you can see that, oh, now I can try and make a issue for my opponent where he's not going to be able to handle it. And for white is, you need to learn to just like either sacrifice or play away, or not make not continue making yourself getting yourself into situations where you're going to continue to have these kinds of same problems. So yeah.